Multiple reports from around Myanmar indicate that the military junta ruling the country bombed civilians as they scrambled to recover from a devastating 7.7 magnitude earthquake that struck the country Friday. Military planes bombed northern Shan state less than 3 hours after the earthquake, according to reports, the most strikes following soon after the Karen state, the quake's epicenter, Sagaing, and its areas close to the Thai border. In contrast, the National Unity Government, which opposes the junta, announced that its military forces would immediately begin a 2 week pause in areas impacted by the earthquake to facilitate humanitarian activities. The fact that the military, known locally as the Tatmadaw, would bomb civilians while they were working to rescue each other from the rubble of the earthquake is nothing short of incredible, Tom Andrews, the UN Special Rapporteur on Human Rights, told the BBC. Anyone who has influence on the Tatmadaw, he said, needs to step up the pressure and make it very clear that this is not acceptable. China and Russia, longtime allies of the Tatmadaw, have helped to provide emergency relief services in the wake of the earthquake, but have not commented on the bombings. Despite sweeping international sanctions, both countries have supplied consistent military and economic support for the Tatmadaw. The United States recently cut back on assistance and development aid to Myanmar as part of our broader cut to international aid. Reports indicate that it has not matched China and Russia's emergency relief assistance since the earthquake. Last week, though, the U.S. Commission on International Religious Freedom released a report criticizing the country for its systematic repression of religious minorities and urged the international community to increase attention to the plight of the persecuted in Myanmar. The country has seen the displacement of over 3.5 million people in recent years. The U.S. Commission on International Religious Freedom report noted including more than 90,000 in Christian majority Chin State, 237,200 in Kachin State, and 1 million Muslim majority Rohingya refugees. Last week's earthquake and airstrikes that followed have only increased these high levels of displacements. Though a strong majority of the population is ethnic Burman, and an even greater percentage is Buddhist. The communities that make up the remainder are well established, well organized, and for the most part predate the formation of the modern state by centuries. In many cases, Myanmar ethnic minorities have also taken to a distinct religious identity. About 20 to 30% of ethnic Karen are Christians, while another group, such as the Chin, are over 90% Christian. This overlap of ethnic and religious identity has created a volatile situation for believers. Representing an extremist interpretation of Buddhism, the Burmese military has a long history of violence against the people of Myanmar, including against ethnic and religious minorities like the Muslim majority Rohingya and Christian majority Chin. The junta is known to abduct children, forcing them to walk ahead of their troops through minefields. In many cases, their victims are members of ethnic and religious minority communities fighting back against the atrocities of the military that has waged a decades-long war of ethnic and religious cleansing. Despite this support, experts believe that the Burmese military is anthropizing rapidly, which has few as 150,000 personnel remaining after a loss of about 21,000 through casualties or desertion since the 2021 coup. This number is significantly smaller than previously estimates of 300 to 400,000 and calls into question the junta's ability to sustain its nationwide military campaign, especially after a series of high-profile losses in recent years. Less than 2 weeks before the devastating earthquake, an international Christian Concern staffer visited the country to address conditions for local Christians and foreign workers amid the ongoing instability. While the findings paint a grim picture of widespread displacement, corruption, and strained infrastructure, this stood out was the resilience of the church and its believers who remain steadfast in their faith despite the mounting challenges. I've contacted friends and local contacts to check on them since the earthquakes, and they've talked about huge devastation in Mandalay and recovery efforts slowly working through the rubble and damage, says an ICC staffer in Southeast Asia. The impact is huge across the country too. Those I've contacted asked for continual prayer for local teams helping with recovery and for their country. Given their plight, one local pastor even selflessly asked if I had prayer requests myself. This shows the strong faith of the believers despite the obstacles. contacted different Christian friends and contacts in Thailand to see how we can help and help by God's grace. ICC will continue to monitor the situation, explore ways to support recovery efforts. Please continue to pray for persecuted brothers and sisters in Myanmar and around the world. Until the next time, take care.